My name is Ethan Miller. I was 13 when I first noticed her. It wasn't dramatic. No music, no movies. Just a 7th grade classroom and a girl whose smile quietly refused to be ordinary. Her name was Emily Carter, and from the moment I saw her, I felt a strange weight settle inside me, a mixture of curiosity, admiration, and something I would later call love. We started with small things, passing notes under the teacher's desk, laughing at jokes only we understood, sharing homework answers. By the time 8th grade arrived, we were inseparable. The school hallways became our private universe. Even when surrounded by hundreds of other students, it always felt like it was just the two of us. Emily had this calm that drew me in. The way she twirled her hair absent-mindedly, the subtle tilt of her head when she was thinking, the way her eyes lit up when she noticed small details in people. I had never met anyone like her. And for a boy like me, a kid from a modest household, with a father struggling to keep a small factory job and a mother working double shifts, she felt like the sunlight I had been waiting for all my life. By the time we were in high school, our friendship had quietly blossomed into something deeper. No one else noticed it at first. We weren't dramatic teenagers. We didn't post every emotion on social media. Our bond grew in whispers and glances, in shared late-night study sessions and secret jokes. We dreamed together. We planned together. I promised her I would build a life worth sharing, even though I didn't know what that would mean yet. And she believed me. Reality, however, has a way of pulling the strings behind the scenes. By the time we were seniors, my life was still modest. I worked part-time jobs, grocery stores, deliveries, anything I could find. I had no savings, no business connections, no capital. My parents did their best, but they were struggling themselves. Meanwhile, Emily's family thrived. Her father owned several properties and had connections that could open doors I couldn't even imagine. The first time I realized the world didn't operate on love alone, I felt it like a punch in the chest. She came to me one evening, pale and tense. "Ethan, my parents have arranged a marriage for me," she said. I laughed at first. My brain refused to process it. "What?" I asked. "Who?" "A businessman. Older, established, someone they consider suitable," she said softly. I couldn't reply. Words fled. My chest tightened. The ground beneath me felt fragile. Weeks passed. Every memory of our walks, our secret notes, our shared lunches, every whispered promise echoed in my head like a curse. I tried to convince myself it wasn't too late. I could work harder. I could make something of myself. But even the thought of trying felt like dragging chains through quicksand. Emily's world was already set, and I wasn't a part of it. When she finally told me the wedding date, I realized the truth in its most brutal form. I had no power, no money, no influence. I had nothing but love, and love, it turned out, had no value in this world. I stopped sleeping properly. I stopped eating regularly. I wandered through the streets at night, staring at the lights, wondering where I went wrong. The boy who once believed that love could conquer everything was gone. He had been replaced by a hollow version of himself, quiet, angry, frustrated, but most of all, aware. Aware that the world rewards power, wealth, and connections, not feelings. Months passed. I watched the wedding unfold from afar. Not in person. I couldn't. I would have crumbled. Instead, I observed through the small lens of social media. Photos of smiling faces, golden decorations, expensive gifts. Emily looked radiant, her smile untouched by guilt, and her husband, a man who had everything radiated, confidence and security. I hated him. I hated myself. I hated the world for being so cruel. But hate alone wasn't enough. Sitting alone in my tiny apartment that night, surrounded by peeling paint and the faint smell of mold, a thought began to form, one sharp enough to cut through years of despair. If love isn't enough, then I will become enough. Not for revenge, not for her, for me. I made a silent promise to the shadows of that room. I would rise. I would build. I would become a man so untouchable, so powerful, that no one, not Emily, not her husband, not the world itself could ignore me. From that night, Ethan Miller ceased to exist in the world he had known. The boy who cried quietly, who dreamed timidly, who loved blindly, he was gone. The man I would become would be defined not by feelings, but by action. Not by chance, but by relentless effort. I didn't know how long it would take. I didn't know what sacrifices I would have to make. I didn't know if the world would ever recognize me. All I knew was one thing. I would never be small again. I would never be powerless again. And someday, when I finally stood at the top, I would show her, not out of malice, not out of hatred, but out of proof, that the boy she once loved, the boy she left behind, had grown into a man she couldn't ignore. The journey had begun, and it would take years. Every failure, every rejection, every lonely night, they would all be steps towards something inevitable. Ethan Miller would rise. The next morning, I woke up to a world that hadn't changed, but I had. Ethan Miller, the boy who had loved blindly, was gone. In his place stood someone who refused to remain powerless. I didn't know how to start, so I began small, very small. The first step was survival. I took every odd job I could find. Warehouse shifts at 5 a.m., delivering packages until late at night, cleaning offices in the evenings. Each job was exhausting, but each paid something enough to eat, enough to keep going. Sleep became optional, meals became optional, but focus was mandatory. I also learned the most important lesson. Knowledge is leverage. I spent nights reading business books, watching seminars online, analyzing markets, understanding wealth from a perspective I had never considered. The boy who once only dreamed now learned how to build, protect, and control. Failures became my teachers. My first attempt at an online business ended in disaster. The supplier cheated me, and I lost money I didn't even have. The second attempt barely survived a shipping error. The third failed because of a contract I didn't understand. Each failure felt like a punch to the gut. But unlike before, I didn't break. I took notes, analyzed mistakes, and corrected them. Pain was now a tool. Rejection was data. I wasn't building a business yet. I was building discipline. Days blurred into nights. Weeks turned into months. I stopped caring about appearances. My clothes were old, my apartment small and crumbling. My hands were calloused, my eyes were tired, but alive. Every night, I thought of Emily, not with longing, not with love, with clarity. She was gone, married into wealth and security. I had nothing, and yet, the memory of our younger years fueled me. Every laugh, every shared secret, every stolen glance was now a spark. It wasn't about her anymore. It was about proving to myself that I could rise, that I could become someone no one could overlook. Then, opportunity appeared quietly. One day, while working a night shift at the warehouse, I noticed a major logistical error. An incoming shipment was misrouted, a mistake that could have cost the company thousands. I fixed it. I worked overtime, coordinated with drivers, and ensured the goods arrived on time. The manager noticed. He didn't praise me loudly. He simply promoted me to a supervisory position. It was nothing to the world, but to me, it was validation. From there, I started my own small venture. I offered consulting for logistics and supply chain optimization. At first, no clients wanted to hire a stranger. But I had one advantage. I knew how to deliver results where others failed. Slowly, my reputation grew. Every contract I took, every solution I provided, built my confidence and my network. It was a slow process, painfully slow, but I didn't rush. I couldn't. I had learned that patience was a weapon sharper than anger. During these years, Emily occasionally appeared in my thoughts.